Hello, friends. I'm Kathy Fay, Executive Director of the Boston Early Music Festival, or BEMF, and I'm so very pleased to welcome you to this special pre-concert talk as we look forward to the opening performance of our star-studded 2021-2022 concert season featuring the extraordinary Jordi Savall and Les Concerts de Nation on Friday, February 25th at St. Paul Church in Harvard Square, Cambridge, Massachusetts. It is my honor to introduce our two guests, the incomparable Catalan viola da gambist Jordi Savall and director of Les Concerts de Nation, and Laury Gutierrez, resident scholar at Brandeis University, Radcliffe Institute Fellow at Harvard University, and music director of La Donna Musicale. Welcome, Jordi and Laury.
Thank you.
Jordi, as you know, for more than 3 decades, the Boston Early Music Festival has been so proud and so honored to present you, both as a soloist and in collaboration with your many ensembles, as one of the most inspiring performers in the early music field. You are admired around the world for your integrity, for your immense musical curiosity, and for your creation of countless new musical and cultural projects, which have shined a light on music that would otherwise have remained lost to us. Thank you for this, and we're so looking forward to seeing you tomorrow in person, Friday, February 25th, together with members of your ensemble. Before I turn the microphone over to the two of you, for those wishing to purchase tickets to attend our concert on February 25th, I'm sorry to say that we're sold out of in-person tickets, meaning only virtual tickets remain. To purchase your virtual ticket, please visit the BEMF website at bemf.org. Our virtual performance premieres on Friday, March 11th, and will be available for viewing through Friday, March 25th. For just $15, every member of your household can enjoy our concert video as many times as you'd like for a 2-week period. Again, check out bemf.org to secure your virtual ticket. So with that, I will disappear from the screen and turn over the discussion to the two of you. And my thanks again.
Thank you, Kathy. I would love to add to the many praises that Maestro Savall received, the praises of him as a teacher. I know so many people that have learned from Maestro Savall, and so many people that still want to learn from all the knowledge that is in this one person. Jordi, I wanted to know, are there plans for you to continue teaching? Is there, because I mentioned that I was going to be here with you today, and people are asking me, I would love to sing for him. I want him to listen to me. I want to play for him. And so I was curious, are you continuing to teach anywhere?
Yes, we are. We are since 2010. We do every year different academies. These 3 last years we have do the complete symphonies by Beethoven. Last year we have do the symphonies from Schubert 8 and 9. This year we are working Mozart Requiem and the Mendelssohn symphonies. I don't teach anymore the viol because I think I have now in the world many good viol players. They have been my students, and they are teaching in several places in Switzerland, in France, and in different countries. And I think they have to work. I have taught more than 20 years in the Schola Cantorum Basiliensis in Basel. And now I concentrate my teaching with the transmission of my experience, creating beautiful works, beautiful performance from great composers, and my idea is now to work in the creation of the real perspective of the symphonic world, coming from the original instruments, original performance. And this is, I think, something we can still say new and bring new ideas.
Fascinating. I was noticing how well crafted your program is. And I thought perhaps we can entertain our audience setting the stage with a beautiful castle, which is right now available in France that you can go and see, and the three kings. The father, Louis XIII, the son, Louis XIV, and the great-grandson, Louis XV. So you have structured this concert just so beautiful, so beautifully crafted. Do you want to tell us what you think that these performances, for instance, the first one in 1627, it was supposed to be a great ceremony. It was the celebration of St. Louis, and for Louis XIII, it was a big day. So this ceremonial performance, how do you think it was presented?
Well, we have the chance thanks to Monsieur Philidor Lenné. He was committed by Louis XIV Philidor was a musicologist, was a person who knows very well the music history, and he was committed to research of the different music played for the different kings of France. He started in 808, and then one of the most interesting collections is the music from Louis XIII. And the first music who compiled in this collection is the music who celebrates the birth of the child who will later be Louis XIII. And in this occasion, they make a big festivity in Versailles, bringing together all the instruments that was played in this time. We are exactly in the year 1600. And this is I think the moment which it's finished, the Renaissance, and begin a new era.
Turning point, yes.
Yeah, the what we later would call the Baroque time. But still, it's a moment which the two styles are together. And the ancient instruments still are playing, the violas da gamba, the sacaputs, the cornetos, the flute à bec, the lutes, all these instruments. And also is the moment which start to be played, the violins, the bass de violon, the grands hautbois, the traverso, the instruments which are more typical than from the Baroque time. And the combination of both makes a great orchestra, the orchestra which is similar to the orchestra from the Italian Monteverdi, what you can see then in the Orfeo and in the big compositions like Mariam Vesper from Monteverdi, etc. And
now they're being called the 24 violin of the king.
24 violons du roi. This is the creation a little later. Les 24 violons du roi, they are used to play for the king, to make music for the king. And for the concert that we do in Boston, I was thinking to start a concert with this small concert play in 1627. But in fact, it's a ballet. It was not a concert, it was a ballet de cour. It's the beginning of it.
Yes.
The music we play was played in order to make the dancers to dance. Because all the kings we mentioned, 13, 14, 14, there was great music lovers and special dance lovers. They like to dance because this time making music and dancing was besides hunting was the most
Pastime, the pastime.
the past exactly. And it's interesting suite because it's a mix of atmospheric things. So we start with les ombres, the shadows. We do some pieces characterizing the Swiss, the Swiss women, the Swiss men, the Gascon, then some personalities of the time, and ending, you will surprise, with a piece called Les Américains.
And do you think that at this point, are they thinking the descendant of the English, American as descendant of English, or they're thinking of the Indians, the indigenous?
In 1620 was no descendants of England. They has started to
the ones that have traveled here. No,
yeah, they start to arrive. There was the beginning of the there are some paintings of the dancers and
the indigenous dancers. Yes, okay.
Indians with typical Indian clothes, you know. No, it's very interesting because it's nothing to do with what we think it's America. It's America before the arriving of the English.
All right, and this music is at 5 parts. And do you think that in 1627 there were 5 parts, or did Philidor kind of arrange it? Because when we get to Louis XIV, that was the standard, having 5 parts, but and certainly later. But do we know about the time of 1627?
No, it's very difficult to know exactly, but mostly of these pieces are very clear melodical, very well-known melodical phrases, and I think Philidor makes arrangements like it was usual in the 17th century. You have to see for example, all the operas from Lully and from Marais all this time. They are mostly written in 5 parts also. It was usual to have the string orchestra with 5 parts of instrumentation. But you can play also, this is music who, if you have a good continuo, you can play also with 2 or 3 instruments. This is not change the character of the music. And as many times the music is composed that you can play with the full orchestra, but also in trio, on quartet, and sextet that we do now in this concept.
And the nymphs of the frogs, the bass line, it seems to be quite like a character piece. So as you said, and maybe there is some sense of joke there, or some light spirit on this piece.
And
what would you say? Les nymphes de la Ranure.
You know, it's more symbolical, you know. It's
more symbolical, okay.
It's not descriptive. But what is interesting, listening to Les Américains, I found a very interesting connection with the music. You know, when I was a little boy, I have seen a lot of American films. And American films creating the atmosphere of the 19th century, you know, this, for example, the music was played in the saloons to dance.
More like in the popular tradition, like traditional music.
The music, like it sounds Les Américains, remember very well the music who was played in the saloons in the 19th century. Ah. That means that probably this music has also arrived to America through the musicians, and they adopted this music as a folk music for the dancing, and they think it's a connection.
Indeed, there is more and more research on on this traveling of the music back and forth and finding pieces that were, or genres that were done in the Americas and also were done almost simultaneously being done in Europe. So the fluidity of the music and the genres, it's clearly that it's clear that we have more of this traveling.
It's a lot of musicians, they arrived to America also with the immigrants. Some of them, for example, the son of Pachelbel and other, sometimes great composers. And music was very, very well present in the American life, even in the first 100 years. And
it's fascinating. I think people think that you move from one period to another and everything else gets forgotten, and it really isn't like that. People, some traditions keep living even up until now. Until now. So we move now to Louis XIV, Le Roi de Soleil, and we find Monsieur de Sainte-Colombe and these beautiful pieces for two basses.
No, the Sainte-Colombe pieces are very well written. They are so well written you can play the original very easy. It's not difficult to read. It's a very impressive big volume with the more than 100 concertos, very beautiful pieces for two viols equal violins. And well, we chose one concerto to play here called Le Retour, because we return again to Boston after 2-3 years of the COVID intermission. And this retour, it's for me symbolical in this way. But what is interesting, the Sainte-Colombe, we create a certain idea from Sainte-Colombe through the Tous les Matins du Monde. People think Sainte-Colombe was a very mysterious man, very serious and very obsessed about the death of his wife, and very hating the court and finding every musician who goes to the court musician who makes only make music for money. Well, a lot of things like this, which are created by Monsieur Pascal Quignard. In the whole history of the Pascal Quignard, which is the base of Tous les Matins du Monde movie, it's this place, the moment who it's Monsieur de Sainte-Colombe is practicing in his cabin, in a small, he built in his garden a small cabin who practices alone. And Monsieur Marais was very curious to hear some special coup d'archet, special technical things they never teach to his students. And Marais, it's go on the base of the cabin and without Sainte-Colombe knows, listen to his practicing. And then he incorporated these technical elements who he's playing. And one day Sainte-Colombe think, well, what happens here? I never teach Marais these technical things, and he's doing this very well. And next time he was practicing, stop and goes outside and found Marais listening. And this is the real moment of this historical perfect documented. The rest it's a fantasy. It's a roman. It's a
made
novel.
up. Mm-hmm.
But it's nice. And the other side, the explanation why Monsieur de Sainte-Colombe hated the court, it's because Sainte-Colombe was Huguenot. He was a Protestant. Second, was from a rich family. He don't need to make music. He make music for pleasure. Marais, to be musician, has to be musicien du roi. when you are not having the royal privilege, you cannot do music professional. And this explains also why Marais was like Couperin, like all the greats, Lully, Rameau, musiciens du roi. They was the only way to be professional musician, composer, and performer.
So we already jumped into Marais, and is there any interesting part of how you choose these? I mean, you chose music from 3 books and very specific pieces, and especially the La Sarabande à l'Espagnol. Can you tell us a little bit about the choices that you made?
Well, I think every time you play in a concert some pieces, you like to choose the most representative pieces, because I cannot do a whole suite, because we have to combine with the traverso, with the violin, with all the other musicians. And I was thinking to play a suite, which it has to be about 12, 30 minutes. I was thinking I like to play something introduction, exotical, because Marais likes aussi, like in the cour in this time, all the chinoiserie or the exotical music coming from other civilizations. And then this march persan is introduced this very nice, this one, and this is a good starting. Then the idea for me was to create something around champêtre, around the more the pastoral atmosphere, and I chose this rondeau champêtre, which is a beautiful melody.
Beautiful, indeed.
And then the Sarabande Espagnol is for me just one of my preferred pieces by Marais. It's a very deep, beautiful, expressive piece, and the character of Espagnol is bring with this yam tam tadam tam, this accentuation of the second time of the sarabande, which makes this sarabande very very special. And also then I finished with La Fête Champêtre, which is feu d'artifice. It's fireworks.
Exactly.
With using all the virtuosity character with musettes, tambourin. It's really a great moment of creation of music.
It's interesting because this virtuosity is written by a person that plays them, so it does fit in the hand. One has to practice a little bit, but unlike sometimes other composers, sometimes the virtuosic parts are hard because they're not written for.
No, it's idiomatic.
It's idiomatic, is correct.
It's part of the style of it, but it's difficult to play too, because Marais knows very well what he can do, and you have to practice to do this.
I know, and he could do a lot.
Also, I like to remember about the opinion of Sainte-Colombe about Marais. Somebody has, this is written in Le Parnasse des musiciens by Titon de Tillet. Later, when Sainte-Colombe was already very old, somebody asked him, it's natural that sometimes the students from a master becomes a great performer and better as the master itself. There was a little saying, well, what do you think about Marais? And he says, yes, this is something that happens sometimes, but nobody will be better as Marais. No student will go so far as Marais has gone with the violin. He was the great.
Sometimes it seems like that, no?
The great admiration from Monsieur de Sainte-Colombe to Marais.
Obviously, there is a very good reason for him to feel in that way for his student.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I think Marais brings the violin to much higher level of creativity and virtuosity and a special of beauty and emotion. Yeah, the only who has arrived in the same level it's Couperin.
Sure. Mhm.
The pièce de viol Couperin.
Right, and we move right on to the Troisième Concert Royal.
Yeah, because Couperin is the other great composer of the time, the Louis XIV. He is really one of the most great composers of the older Baroque time. I will say Couperin, it's the Bach of the French music history. And I have to say, for me, Couperin has something very similar from the musical poetical. It's has the writer La Fontaine.
Mhm.
Couperin was a very simple person in the way that he was saying, je préfère ce qui me touche à ce qui me surprend.
I prefer the things that
touch
move me.
As the thing that surprise me. And the same thing, in other words, is said by La Fontaine. La Fontaine says, la grâce plus belle que la beauté. The grace much beautiful as beauty. He said, because la beauté, the beauty surprise us. We say, oh, this is so beautiful. But la grâce touch our hearts.
That's right. That's
And
right.
this is the same as you say, Couperin says, j'aime mieux, I like what moved me as not more as what surprised. And this is the principal quality of the music of Couperin. This is really a music with a great intensity of emotion, always.
Before we move to Louis XIV, to Louis XV, musicians and music, I can't help to want to inquire, how did you manage to leave Lully out of the Louis XIV section? Because he would have been very mad at you.
Yeah, because this is a chamber music program.
Right. Well, but Lully also has a concert donné. There is a transcription of also one of his 1707 transcription of a concert given to the king, and
yeah, but it's always with a big orchestra.
With a big orchestra.
Yes,
Well,
Lully is the creator of the Baroque orchestra. And he was really the first who arrived to make a group of 30 musicians doing the same bowing, playing the same way, and create a real language of the orchestra. And for this, I don't have used Lully in this program because it's a more chamber music program.
Indeed. And how about Elisabeth Jacquet de la Guerre? She was not in the courts. Perhaps that's one of the reasons.
Yeah. I mean, also we have the limitation in a concert. It has to be not more than 1 hour and
so many minutes. Yes, you can't put everyone. But I just was curious, especially about Lully, because he so much wanted to be the French king of.
It's more representative for big orchestra, from his motets, from his operas, and in a chamber music program, they are not really. They have never ruled. He's really much more concentrated in the operatic and orchestral.
Right. So let's move on to Louis XV, though. Then 5 years old, he becomes the king of France. And then we have Jean-Philippe Rameau with the pièce de clavecin en concert. Those, I think, are very hard.
Yeah, but I think the experimentation of Rameau was so beautiful also in all the chamber music, in the opera, in the orchestral music, in all the different aspects. And we chose also one aspect for his chamber music with these concerts Pierre de Clavecin en concert.
Mhm.
He gave a very important role to the harpsichord, and then the accompaniment for the flûte traversière, violon, and the viola da gamba. And
This is, yeah, is this unusual to have the harpsichord become the center of the piece?
yes, yes. Yeah, but the harpsichord is anyway the center because with the continuo, it's a fundament. But
Right.
it's as a concertant part.
Yes.
And this is very so.
Yes, and Rameau also was has his treatises. I mean, he was a well-rounded and important
He was
musician.
a great also composer, which has really think a lot about the style of the composition, and he brings the music also in evolution, very strong to already to the classical. Here's the bridge from the Baroque to the Rococo and classical.
Right.
The last opera, the posthumous opera, Liboriade, it's incredible, beautiful.
Right, and he was so prolific. It's just quite a composer, really. Thank you for including it. As I said, this is a so beautifully crafted program and so well put together that every piece seems to make sense, one following the other. And you end the concert with Jean-Marie Leclair, Sonata 8. That's the one that.
Yeah, it's the only trio sonata.
Mhm.
Very beautiful sonatas for one, two violins. But this is the only trio sonata with a special viola da gamba part. And then I think it was the perfect combination to finish the program, which every instrument can be presented. And I think this.
A soloist.
Yeah, and the sonata also reflected the evolution of the history, the musical history. Already in the Lully time, it's still, if he invented the French style, but his is a certain influence from Italian style too. But Couperin, it's really was also thinking in la réunion de goût, in English will say la réunion de goût, the
union of all the tastes or the
taste, yes.
Yeah.
And I think maybe which who reached this idea, it's Leclair much more than the Couperin or Lully. Leclair combined in his sonata really the flexibility, the melodical inspiration, the rhythmical dance in the sarabande special from the French style, but also the virtuosity, the concertant virtuosity from the Italian style.
De la Guerra does too, and speed those tempo, the tempi start putting presto because
absolutely
they want it to be sounding more Italian than French, and the speed was part of it.
Yeah, the concertant style is exactly this.
Indeed, Maestro, you've done it basically all. What are the plans for next year? This is a concert that today's concert, the Baroque Versailles is a program that you play with in 1987 already, when you created the Les Concerts des Nations. In fact, you're using some of the same personnel. I mean, you have been playing with Manfred and Manfredo Kramer and for a long time. I'm so happy to be able to see this live tomorrow. But what is coming for you as a research projects or concerts in the next year? And are you planning to retire? Are you planning to keep going?
Well, I think I will retire when I will be sick or dying. I think this is the natural way to go away when you are a musician. Music is much more as a profession. music is an art of life. You work.
Music is an art of life. Yes.
Because the music, I think, be a musician, it's to develop the capacity to give a new life to the great compositions of the great composers. And this is much more than a profession. It's something that demands you to go very deep in the research how to reach this idea, and it's something you never reach 100% because this is a mystery of art. But I think as long as I can think, I can move my fingers and I can be enough energy, I will continue to do music and play the violas as long as I can. But the moment in my life, I like to bring to work in classical repertories that we know very well, most of the time with very ancient ways to play and conceptions. And I think we can bring all these classical repertories, romantic repertories with the original instruments, with the new light, with the new ideas, and bring more fresh and creativity in these repertoires. I'm preparing now, we have worked with the 9 symphonies of Beethoven last 2 years. They are now all recorded. We have now recorded already the 8 and 9 symphonies by Schubert. And we prepare for this year the Mozart Requiem, the symphonies Italian and Scottish by Mendelssohn. And next year we prepare the Missa Solemnis and the Sommer Nachtstraum, Le Songe de Nuit d'été by Mendelssohn also.
A very ambitious program coming up then.
Well, when you are in the last moment of your life, you have to take very ambitious projects to be conserve the energy and the forces. I think it's important.
Well, it seems like you are heading towards a long life because these projects are going to keep you entertained and with energized for a while.
Especially because I like to work on these projects, combining the research of the best performance. Also combine in my orchestra, we are combining now 50% of young musicians. For the next period, also 50% of women and 20 musicians from 20 different nations from Europe.
Oh, so it's really a project that encompasses a social aspect.
A transmission of the knowledge, transmission artistic conceptions, and give that to the young people the experience to arrive at the excellence working hard.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Maestro, it as always a pleasure to talk to you. So inspiring for all of us musicians, for all of us human beings. Your work is a beacon of joy. Your work is a source of constant joy for all of us, a source of inspirations, a source of growth. And we thank you for this time. We thank you for coming back to Boston, and long live Jordi.
Thank you. I will enjoy to be again in contact with the audience of Boston, which are always very, very nice persons. Thank you.
Thank you.